takes the snap. He's back to throw. He's under pressure. Flushed out to his left. Stands back there. Now he's going to moonball it down the middle of the field. High in the air. Batted down and incomplete. And the New York Giants are going to leave Seattle with a victory as they stop the Seahawks on 4th and 18. 17-12 the score with 37 seconds to go.
And that is how it ended. Welcome into Giants Postgame Wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz, the official luxury automobile of the New York Football Giants. I'm Madelyn Burke alongside Giants two-time Super Bowl champion David Diehl. David, what a final play for this Giants defense, but also what a game, what a win, 17-12 in Seattle.
Today was a culture-changing win for this Giants organization and Joe Judge to go on the road to beat a very good Seattle team with all the chips stacked against you, with nobody picking you, and to win a drag-out heavyweight fight like this. It says a lot about the chemistry, the makeup, and the fight of this Giants football team.
I mean, we saw that final play, but a minute 48 left in the game. Russell Wilson gets the ball. Seahawks have 2 timeouts, and that is how it ended. A lot of credit due for this Giants defense. They were huge in this win, especially in applying pressure to the quarterback. Look at this. They had 5 sacks on the day.
This is one with Tate Crowder, got a wound on a scraping linebacker where they had a nice stud up front. But this is what they were able to do. Here we see Peppers storming through. They were able to capitalize on their blitzes, but more importantly, maintain gap discipline with their defensive line. Once they started shutting down the run of Chris Carson, it was open game for everybody on the defensive line.
And we saw Leonard Williams get there a couple times. He set a new career high, 8.5 sacks on the season and counting. The Giants have 32 sacks so far this year. For perspective, last season in its entirety, they had 36. Russell Wilson has been taken down 40 times. The only quarterback who's been taken down more is Carson Wentz, but the Giants defense still deserves a lot of credit for that pressure, especially some of these young guys that we really saw making their presence known. Rookies like this guy right here, Tate Crowder, the last pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, getting his first career sack.
Here's a little move where he's scraping off of the inside dart move by the defensive tackle and the defensive line, gives him the clear opening to get Russell Wilson down. And this is when you're playing complementary football with the back end and the secondary of this defense to allow this pressure to develop.
The rookie out of Georgia, he's had a pick as well. But look at this, Nico Lalos. He was called up from the practice squad. He has played 2 NFL games, and he has had a takeaway in each of them. The fumble recovery right here.
When you hustle and swarm to the football, great things happen. And once again, another young player making plays in back-to-back games.
Nico Lalos from Akron, Ohio. We saw LeBron James giving him credit on Twitter last week. And then we've got Carter Coughlin. He had 2 tackles, but both of them that counted. 3rd and 16 on this one right here.
This is actually a 3-man game. They moved the defensive end and the defensive tackle out and scraped him around because he's actually spying Russell Wilson on this play, is able to chase him down and come away with another big sack in a crucial moment for this Giants football team.
The pressure was there, but not just in Russell Wilson's face, as well as in the face of some of these receivers. Darnay Holmes comes up with the interception right here, the rookie out of UCLA.
This is something that you work on every day in practice, the tip drill, and it showed up for Holmes today.
Gotta love that right there. Look at this. He's got his eyes on it. He comes away with the clean. Make sure to bring it and finish it. And that's one thing that he talked about in training camp. It's not about making the play, it's about finishing the play as he goes all the way down to the ground with that ball and gets that interception. You know, I mean, the defense was huge, David. We have to give them credit, but the offense, the running game was also there today. The Giants had 190 yards on the ground. Wayne Gallman, Alfred Morris doing work right there.
And this is something that you have to give Jason Garrett a ton of credit for, is sticking to the run, because they only had 32 yards rushing in the first half. But all of a sudden in the third quarter, there was an explosion, and to finish with 190 on the game says a lot about the trust that they have in this offensive line.
Especially right here, too. Wayne Gallman, a career-long, breaking out a 60-yard run on this one. He had his first career 100 or more yard gain. And he said, you know what, he's feeling that confidence from his teammates.
Well, if any of those Giants fans were critical of Andrew Thomas and Shane Lemieux, those young left side rookies, notice where these runs are all going.
All going to the left. And you know what, this is also cannot be overlooked, that this is all happening against a Seahawks defense that came into this game number 3 in the NFL against the run, allowing an average of 89.3 rushing yards per game. They allowed 190 on the ground to these guys.
And these are up against stacked boxes with 8 in the box with Jamal Adams down there, and it didn't make a difference. They were running base runs, and it was saying, we know what you're running, you know what we're running, and we're going to run it right down your throat anyway. So the ability of this Giants offensive line to take over the game in the second half shows you that it started off sluggish, but if you stick to it, start working to the second level and start really snowplowing them off of the ball, these are the great things that can happen.
Giants running backs on the field were doing work. Giants running backs at home. Saquon Barkley tweeting out in all caps. Just so excited watching this game. And you know what? We're excited. We got a lot more to talk about, including we'll hear from head coach Joe Judge. That and so much more coming up here on Giants Postgame Wrap-up. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on the MSG Networks. And for the latest game highlights and analysis, download the Giants mobile app on your device's app store. This week's toughest player of the game is driven by the Hess toy truck. And today's toughest player is Leonard Williams. 2.5 sacks in addition to what a stat line that is. A big stat line for the big cat right here. Let's have a listen to what he had to say after the game.
It's easy to be happy and see the good things when you guys are winning, but I feel like we all seen the good things in each other and what we had even when we were losing. And that just helped continue to build our confidence in each other and build on what we have working here. And eventually, it just turns into a snowball and it keeps building up. And I feel like we have like a real culture here now. And, I love the way this team is going.
That was Leonard Williams talking about the real culture that is building here at the Giants, and a lot of that has to do with the head coach. Let's have a listen to what Joe Judge had to say, presented by Toyota, the official vehicle of the New York Giants.
First off, I'm happy the way the team played today. I'm very proud of the way they worked. We had a good week of preparation. The way we prepare always carries into how we play and how we perform. And I've seen this group make a lot of, consistent improvement day in, day out, which carries over week by week improvement. And that's starting to show in the results we're getting. But I'm proud of the way they work on a weekly basis. And we put them through a lot of stuff, but I'm proud they get to, receive some tangible results for their hard work. Seahawks, obviously, have to give them a lot of credit. They're a well-coached team. They play very fundamentally sound. They're an explosive team. That's one of the best quarterbacks in the world over there. We have a tremendous amount of respect for all the players we saw today. And that obviously tied into the game plan we had to account for how explosive they were, how well coached they are on defense, and how explosive they are in the kicking game as well. I thought our guys received the game plan well. I think that Pat, Jason, and T-Mac all did a good job throughout the week, so did all the position coaches. I thought our guys came prepared to play today mentally, physically, and emotionally, and that showed up in a 60-minute game. We knew it was going to go down the wire. It always does in a place like this. You got to fight to keep yourself in a position to have a close game here and close it out in the end. And exactly what we thought was going to happen happened throughout the week in practice and happened in the game today, going down the wire. So that being said, any questions you have, I'll gladly answer right now.
Bruce Beck, NBC.
Joe, what about the quality of your defense overall? How did your defense do it today?
Yeah, I think that look, these guys work hard. I think Pat has a good plan. I think there's really good position coaches on that side of the ball. They're very detailed in their approach. I think our players, have gotten more comfortable within the schemes and able to build on the multiples. And you have to have multiples to play a lot of these quarterbacks who are playing. You've got to be able to play guys like Russell Wilson where you can go ahead and stop him in the run game. And again, that's a lot easier said than done. At the same point, try to confuse him a little bit in the passing game, which, again, is a lot easier said than done because this guy's seen a lot of coverage over the course of his career, and he's beat just about everything you can throw at him defensively. So, I think our guys are just working hard, and that level of play is raising right now. But, the coaches have done a good job, and the players have executed, and the level of play is rising.
Bar Schwartz, New York Post.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, at halftime, you guys had no points and, 25 or so rushing yards. What happened at halftime? What words were said? What the changes were made schematically for you guys to run the ball and gain about 170 yards in the second half?
Well, there were a couple of small adjustments in terms of maybe some things we called or maybe the way we designed a run play, but I don't think there's anything radical. We talked about at halftime the biggest point of emphasis that we were going to stay committed to the game plan we had coming in, and that we were going to keep on running the ball, and that we had to wear them down over time. We had to give our runners opportunities to get into space and finish the runs, and obviously those guys did that. They ran well. I don't know the exact numbers right now, but I know that our guys ran for somewhere around 190 yards. Is that correct? Somewhere in that range right there. So, you come in here, it's one of the top run defenses out there. They're coached very, very well, year in, year out. So, part of our game plan was obviously to run the ball. That starts up front with the offensive line blocking. Thought they did a good job of really playing hard and wearing them down over time. Then our backs ran tough and finished rounds.
Hey, Joe, what did you guys do to take away those explosive plays you can't obviously see really on TV, and then just how much of an emphasis was that?
Well, I think against a group like this, and they're such a deep threat, you've got to account and make sure that they have to snap the ball again and again and not give those big chunk plays they can, make so often. Look, Metcalf and Lockett, those are two explosive guys, about as good as there is in the league. And you just got to make sure that, you don't let them walk by. You got to stay on top in coverage. There's different variations of coverage, different ways we can play it, but ultimately it doesn't matter what you call. You just can't let these guys run behind you because that quarterback, Russell, is really, really good at throwing deep balls, and he'll go ahead and throw it as far as it needs to be to get the ball down there. So, look, it always starts up front. You got to stop the run. If any team can run and pass, they're really playing with, power. If you can stop the run and limit the run and force them to play a little bit left-handed with only throwing the ball, that gives you a little bit of an edge. That's easier said than done. But I think our guys just did a really good job responding to this team in whatever situation they're put in. You look at our defense. You look at our defense today. There were a lot of waves in the game today. There's a lot of waves from Seattle of energy and momentum and things that maybe come together. And our defense just kept responding. Every time they got put out there, they just responded. Right? They converted and get a first down. Okay, so what? Now what? Okay, it's first down. Play the next down. And they responded. We were able to get them off the field. So, look, they went down there on the first drive, got the field goal. I thought our guys did a good job in the red area of holding them to the field goal. Again, this is one of the top red zone teams in the league. So to be able to do that and hold them to 3, we settled down a little bit defensively, and then I thought they finished the game really strong.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? What does it mean to your defense that you're getting guys significant contributions from guys like Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, Tay Crowder, Isaac Yiadom?
And we've seen a lot of these young guys make a lot of improvement throughout the season. I mean, Nico had a second turnover, of the season that right now. It's 2 games and 2 big plays he's made for us. So, between him, Cam, Carter, Darnay, Tay, look, there's a lot of young guys on defense, young guys on offense as well, that we ask to do a lot of jobs, and they keep getting better. They give us confidence because of the way they prepare and the way they demonstrate the execution in practice. Overall, we're a young team, but we really don't care about that. I told you guys a long time ago, I love the fact that we're a young team. I really do. It means there's a lot of guys that develop, a lot of guys really work with and grow. And, I've seen guys, I don't care, if they're a practice squad 2 weeks ago or they're a veteran in this league. All of our guys are improving, and all the guys are helping us have results.
And what can you say about the way Leonard Williams played today?
Guy's a man, man. That dude's a man. So, one thing I'll tell you, there's things about Leo you may not know by not just being in the locker room with him. First off, this guy's just an absolute pleasure to be around. This guy smiles all the time. All right, he's a great teammate. He's very coachable. You give him something to work on, he's going to work as hard as he can to master it. He gives us a lot of versatility on the defense because of his skill set. And this dude's just a guy that when you see him in your locker room before the game makes you feel a little bit better. But I'll tell you what, obviously there's statistics on the field you see. What you don't see is what kind of, guy he is to coach, what kind of teammate he is away from it. And look, that's as important, if not more important, than all the statistics you see on the sheets. All right, this guy helps everybody else raise their level of preparation and play.
David, you got to love that praise from the head coach for Leonard Williams. Not just a great statistical game, but a good guy.
No question. He brings leadership and accountability to the defensive side of the ball. Leadership by his actions, for his ability to use his technique, whether it's hands, to be 6'5", 300, and to be able to split gaps and be kind of slippery. It's unbelievable. Not to mention, when they need a momentum-changing play, he's there for it. Here's another one where it gets Russell Wilson. But also, when his teammates make plays, who's the first one over there to celebrate with him? Leonard Williams.
Yeah, he's talked about how close he is with those guys on that D-line, Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, and how that cohesion has built and the more time that they spent together. But he's getting to the quarterback today. 2.5 sacks on the day, a career-high 8.5 sacks on the season, with still plenty of ball game left.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got a little bit more show left, too, because coming up, we're going to hear from Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy stepped up. He won his first start since 2014. What did the Giants quarterback have to say after the game? That and much more coming up after the break. Tonight's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Investors Bank. Get the official New York Giants checking account only from Investors Bank. Visit investorsbank.com/Giants for more details. For the drive of the game, we take you to the third quarter. Colt McCoy hands it off to Wayne Gallman, who cuts to the left and runs down the left sideline, a 60-yard gain, a career-long run for Wayne Gallman en route to his first 100 or more yard rushing game. Then 1st and 10, Alfred Morris takes the ball, 13-yard gain right there, gets close, but not quite. But you know what? 1st and goal, he runs it right into the end zone. This would be the first of 2 touchdowns for Alfred Morris on the day. 4 plays, 80 yards, 2 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. Finished with that Alfred Morris rushing touchdown, and also a 2-point conversion was completed as Colt McCoy passed it to Sterling Shepard. And speaking of Colt McCoy, we want to have a listen to what the quarterback had to say after the game. Let's have a listen.
You know, Coach Judge let me break down the team at the end. I just told him, you know, how proud I was to be a part of this, to be with this group of guys. You know, that's special to me. I love the game of football. I've been playing for 11 years, and I'm fortunate to still be playing. I count my blessings every day. But to come in here on the road and figure out a way to help our team get a win, obviously there's things I can do better, 100%. I mean, I played so far from perfect, but I think I did a good job in the second half, settling down and seeing things and taking a breath. You know, I felt like in the first half I was ahead of the play a lot, which, you know, I hadn't done it in a while. But I think that, you know, overall, a lot of things to clean up. But again, I love the game. I love being able to play, and playing with this group is pretty special, and I'm really appreciative of it.
That was Colt McCoy, who won his first start since 2014 today at Seattle. In his words, he was, quote, far from perfect. But, David, he did his job.
He most certainly did. He did his job. He put this Giants offense in positions to succeed by the calling of plays and changing of the plays at the line of scrimmage. And let's not take away some of the nice throws that he made, whether it was some rolls on the run, whether it was a 2nd and 7 in the last drive that the Giants had the football, where he was able to hit Slayton with a nice ball for a 14-yard gain. Those are all things that you have to accept and take as complimentary football to the way that this Giants defense was playing today.
Absolutely. Kept the Giants alive, kept the drive going, and made plays when they counted. All right, we got a lot more coming up on the show. Stay with us as we finish it off as Giants Postgame Wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz. The official luxury automobile of the New York Giants continues after this.
I think we're figuring out, you know, what each other is good at, how to play off one another. I think the coaches are doing a great job with the game plan and putting guys in positions to excel. And you know, as the season goes on, you know, teams either, you know, ascend or descend. You know, we wanted to make sure we were one of those ascending teams who keep getting better week in and week out.
Giants safety Jabril Peppers coming to the podium fresh off the field, and that man was all over the field
Yes,
today.
he was. You talk about a player who brings energy and physicality each and every time he's on the field. That's Jabril Peppers. We saw the big hit that he had on the opening drive on Lockett at the sideline. We saw him get payback to Chris Carson by running him over and getting the sack. Not to mention, think about the last 2nd and 10 of the drive that the Seahawks had, the huge hit that he had on Lockett to have him drop and force an incomplete pass. That could have been a completely different scenario in that last drive.
Absolutely. Jabril Peppers was one of the key factors of that Giants defensive backfield. And not to mention, we have to say James Bradbury. Have to say his name at least once in this show, because that man made Metcalf look like decaf today. It was a great performance, per usual, from James Bradbury, as the Giants got the win and now solidify their spot as number 1 in the NFC East, at least for now. The Eagles lost, but Washington plays Pittsburgh and Dallas plays the Ravens in the next 2 days. But, David, this is, you know, like Jabril said, ascending.
Yes, it is. And the one thing that you know about this Giants football team is they're capitalizing on their own opportunities. They're not worried about the rest of the NFC East. They're not worried about the rest of these NFL teams. All they need to do is take care of their own business, and that'll take care of itself.
Taking care of their own business on the field, and as they continue to build towards their goals, as they continue to trend in the right direction, and as they return to New Jersey to host the Arizona Cardinals next week at MetLife Stadium. The next game, of course, Sunday, December 13th, 1 p.m., Giants-Cardinals. David, the Cardinals coming off a loss to the Rams 38-28 this Sunday as well.
Well, you know that he's a mobile quarterback, but we know that he has been struggling with his shoulder. Talk about a great game to play right before Kyler Murray. Russell Wilson, a lot of the same characteristics, both former baseball players, so they can throw off of different planes. But this is going to be a challenge. We know that Cliff Kingsbury comes in with a lot of different dynamic things on the offensive side of the ball, but we know this Giants defense is going to be ready for it.
Absolutely. That offensive line might be a little bit stronger than Seattle's, but very similar in the quarterback. And hey, we've seen what Russ can do as he cooks. Kyler Murray dealing with that shoulder issue as well.
Yes, it is. And that's where, hits on the quarterback are cumulative.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a lot of football left this season, a lot to look forward to, and we will be here every week on MSG Networks, 11:30 p.m. after the game. Don't forget to tune in and watch us, and plus, lead up to the game with First and 10 and all of our Giants content. For David Diehl, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for hanging out with us. The Giants have won 4 in a row. Let's keep it going.
That's what we're talking about.
Let's keep it going. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great night.